Here's what nobody in this industry wants you to hear. A 20-year floor supervisor walked into a coffee shop in Henderson, Nevada, sat down across from a recorder and said, "Everything you think you know about how casinos treat you is wrong. We were trained to smile, trained to serve, and trained to never, ever tell you the truth." That conversation opened a door that the casino industry has spent billions of dollars trying to keep shut, and today we're walking through it. Hi, my name is Michael, and this is Old Vegas Legends. The clock is your enemy. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at a clock inside a casino? Not your phone, an actual clock on a wall. Go ahead and think about it. I'll wait. Right? You can't remember. Because there aren't any, and that is not an accident. That is policy. A former floor supervisor at a major MGM property, someone who spent 19 years managing the main gaming floor, put it this way. On my first day of training, they told us 3 things. Keep the floor clean, keep the guests comfortable, and never, under any circumstances, tell a guest what time it is. He laughed when he said it, but he wasn't joking. Casinos have known since the 1960s that time disorientation is one of the most powerful tools in their arsenal. The original architects of the modern casino floor, people like Bill Friedman, who wrote the literal textbook on casino design, built their entire philosophy around one idea. Keep the player in the moment, not thinking about yesterday, not thinking about tomorrow, certainly not thinking about the fact that it is 3:45 in the morning and they've been sitting at that video poker machine for 6 hours. So here's what workers are actually trained to do. First, they're instructed never to initiate conversation about time. Never say, "It's getting late" to a player who's been there for hours. Never mention shift changes in a way that signals the passage of time. One former cocktail waitress at Caesars told us, "We were literally coached on language. You don't say good morning to a guest who just sat down, because that reminds them that morning has arrived and they should probably go home." Now, here's the one that's going to get me some comments. The oxygen myth. You've probably heard the theory that casinos pump extra oxygen into the air to keep gamblers alert and spending. I'm going to level with you on this one. That specific claim has never been confirmed, and most industry insiders call it an urban legend. But, and this is a significant but, multiple former HVAC technicians who worked in strip properties have said that air circulation on casino floors is specifically calibrated to feel comfortable and neutral at all hours, deliberately avoiding the kind of stale, heavy air that makes you feel tired. Is that pumping in oxygen? No. Is it engineering your environment to stop you from realizing you're exhausted? Absolutely yes. And then there's the light. Not a single casino floor on the Strip uses natural light. The lighting is engineered to mimic that pleasant, slightly energized feeling of late afternoon, universally. At 2 in the morning, at 7 in the morning, at noon, always late afternoon. Always the moment of the day when you feel most awake and most alive. One lighting contractor who worked on a major Venetian renovation said the brief he was given was 4 words. Never feel like night. That's not interior design. That's psychological engineering. And your floor staff knows it. They're just trained to never bring it up. Your loyalty points are a trap. Oh, this one. This one right here is the one that makes former casino hosts go quiet when you bring it up at dinner, because they know. They all know. Here's the pitch they sell you. Join our rewards program. Earn points every time you play. Redeem those points for free rooms, free meals, free show tickets, free everything. You're being rewarded for your loyalty. You're being taken care of. You matter to us. Here's the reality. A former casino host at a Caesars property described to us, after leaving the industry in 2023, "We had a term for the comp sweet spot. We called it the leash. The goal of every comp offer was to give the guests just enough to bring them back without ever giving them enough to come out ahead. Always the leash, never the reward." Think about what that means for a moment. The entire loyalty program, the points, the tiers, the platinum cards, the diamond status, the emails with your personalized offers, all of it is mathematically engineered to ensure that what you receive in comps is always less than what you lose to earn them. Always. That is not a bug in the system. That is the system. A former analytics manager at a major strip property, someone who spent 8 years running player data, explained it this way. Every player in the system has what's called a theoretical loss figure. The casino knows, based on your average bet, your average session length, and the house edge on your games of choice, exactly how much money you are expected to lose over time. Your comps are calculated as a percentage of that theoretical loss, typically between 20 and 40%. So if the casino expects you to lose $1,000 on a trip, they might offer you a free room worth $150. You feel rewarded. They've already made $850 on you before you've even checked in. And here's what floor staff are specifically trained never to say. They will never tell you that your comp offer arrived in your inbox because the system flagged you as overdue for a visit, and your lifetime theoretical loss makes you worth reactivating. They'll never tell you the free room they just gave you was calculated to cost them $60 in actual overhead. They will smile and say, "We just wanted to take care of you." And they'll mean it too, because genuinely, most hosts do care about their players. But the system they're operating inside of is not built on caring. It's built on retention mathematics. One former host told us something that stuck. She said, "The saddest calls I ever made were to widows. Their husband had been a player for 30 years. He passes away. Within 6 weeks, I'm calling her with an offer. Not because I'm heartless, because the system auto-generated it, and my job was to make the call." Let that one sit for a second. The lucky machines are never random. All right, everybody take a breath, because this section is going to make some of you genuinely angry. You know that slot machine you always play? The one in the corner by the sports book that you swear runs hotter than the others? The one your buddy hit $400 on last March? Here's what a 22-year slot technician who serviced machines at 3 different strip properties told us. Placement is everything. Everything. Those machines aren't placed randomly. There is a science to exactly where every single machine sits on that floor, and it has nothing to do with your comfort and everything to do with the casino's revenue. Let's talk about what casinos call loose machines, the ones with higher payout percentages. Yes, they exist. No, they are not where you think they are. Former slot floor managers have confirmed for years what industry insiders call the visibility strategy. Loose machines are placed in high-traffic, high-visibility areas, near entrances, near the sports book, near the cashier cage. Places where a winner will be seen by as many people as possible. The sound, the lights, the celebration, it's a commercial. A live commercial playing on repeat to convince the people walking past that winning is happening, and it could happen to them. Meanwhile, the tightest machines on the floor, the ones holding the highest percentage of every dollar fed into them, those are tucked into the corners, the quieter sections, the places where solo players sit for hours without being disturbed. One former slot technician put it bluntly. The machines in the back corners near the restrooms, never play those, never. I serviced those machines for years. I know what those hold percentages look like. It's not pretty. And then there is near-miss programming. This is the one that genuinely keeps me up at night. And I've been doing this long enough that not much keeps me up at night. Modern slot machines are programmed to display near misses at a rate far exceeding what true randomness would produce. 2 jackpot symbols, and then one just above or below the pay line. It's not random chance, it's deliberate code. The Nevada Gaming Control Board has regulations around this, but within those regulations, there is significant room for casinos to engineer the feeling of almost winning. And almost winning, neurologically speaking, activates the same reward pathways in your brain as actually winning. Your brain doesn't know the difference. The machine's designers absolutely do. Workers on the slot floor know which sections run tight. They know because they watch. They watch where players leave frustrated quickly and where players sit for hours. They're just trained to redirect the question if you ever ask. All our machines are regularly audited and certified. True statement. Completely misleading answer. The free drinks aren't free. I know you know this on some level, but let me tell you exactly how calculated it actually is, because the math here is something else entirely. The free drink is the oldest trick in the Las Vegas playbook. Older than the neon, older than the showgirls, older than Steve Wynn, rest his reputation. You sit down at a machine or a table, and within a few minutes, a cocktail waitress appears, and the drinks are complimentary. What a town. What a generous, wonderful town. Here's what a former cocktail waitress who worked the floor at a major strip property for 11 years told us. We were trained to understand one thing above everything else. A player with a drink in their hand stays longer. A player who stays longer loses more. The drink is not a gift. The drink is an investment. But here's the layer most people never think about. The service timing is not random. It is not based on how busy the floor is or how many waitresses are working. It is strategic. Players who are winning or who are betting small receive slower service. Players who are on a losing streak, who are betting big, who are showing the behavioral signs of deep engagement, those players see a waitress appear like magic. Fresh drink, warm smile, no wait. Because the casino's behavioral data, and yes, they are watching your betting patterns in real time, tells the floor that you are in the zone. And the last thing they want is for you to get up, get a drink yourself, maybe walk outside for 5 minutes, get some air, remember you have a family, and go to bed. One pit boss described it as traffic management. We're managing the flow of people. A drink keeps someone planted. A slow drink to the wrong person. That's a tool too. And by the way, those drinks aren't entirely free in any real sense of the word. Studies have consistently shown that alcohol increases average bet size and increases session length. Both of those things benefit exactly one party in this transaction, and it isn't you. The surveillance room knows everything. Let me paint you a picture. Somewhere above the casino floor right now, in a room that most employees will never set foot in, someone is watching. Not just watching the floor in general, watching specific people, watching specific hands, watching specific faces. The modern casino surveillance operation is, and I say this without exaggeration, one of the most sophisticated monitoring systems on the planet outside of federal intelligence agencies. A former surveillance operator who spent 14 years in the eye in the sky at 2 different strip properties described the setup this way. By the time a guest sits down at a table game, we often know who they are before the dealer does. Facial recognition cross-referenced with our player database. We know their name, their tier level, their average bet, their history of disputes, their history of self-exclusion requests, everything. And here's what floor staff are specifically trained to never confirm to a guest. That level of identification is happening. If you walk up to a pit boss and ask, "Does this casino use facial recognition?" the trained answer is a deflection. "I'm not really the person to speak to about our security systems." True, completely non-informative, by design. Here's what the surveillance room is actually tracking beyond just catching cheaters. They track betting patterns for what the industry calls advantage play identification. Card counters, skilled video poker players, anyone demonstrating a statistically unusual win rate gets flagged, not necessarily removed immediately, watched, and when the time comes, quietly managed off the property. A former shift manager described the process. "We don't throw people out for winning. That's a myth. We just quietly move them to games where their skill doesn't matter as much. Or we shuffle more frequently. Or we change the dealer." All of these are trained responses that staff execute without ever explaining why. But here's what really blew my mind when I first heard this. Surveillance doesn't just catch cheaters, it catches casinos. One former operator told us that a significant portion of surveillance work is monitoring their own staff for theft. Dealers skimming, waitresses pocketing tips incorrectly, hosts giving unauthorized comps. The cameras are pointed at everyone. Players just assume they're the only ones being watched. You are never not being watched, and your staff knows everything the camera knows. They just can't tell you. The comp system has a dark side. We talked about how comps are calculated. Now let's talk about who stops getting them. Because this is the part that the casino industry really genuinely does not want in a YouTube script. There is a process inside every major strip property that player-facing staff are trained to execute without ever naming it directly to the guest. Industry insiders call it various things: cooling off a player, managing a relationship, adjusting an account. What it actually is a quiet blacklist. Here's how it works. The casino's player analytics system flags certain accounts. Maybe you've had too many dispute resolutions go your way. Maybe you've successfully argued off resort fees more than twice. Maybe you've been identified as a low theoretical loss player who redeems comps efficiently. Maybe you've been too vocal on social media about a bad experience. Any of these factors can trigger what one former casino host described as a relationship review. What happens next is the slow fade. Your offers get worse. Your free night suddenly requires a minimum spend. Your room upgrades stop coming through. Your host stops returning calls as quickly. Nobody tells you that you've been downgraded in the system. Nobody sends you a letter. You just slowly notice that the treatment has changed. And when you call to ask why, the trained answer is always the same: "I'll look into that for you and follow up." they don't follow up. One former host who left the industry in 2024 told us, "I had a player I'd worked with for 6 years. Great guy, came 4 times a year, spent consistently, never caused problems. But he'd gotten good at maximizing his comps. Smart player, the system flagged him. My director told me to let the relationship cool. I had to watch that man call me 3 times wondering what he'd done wrong. I knew exactly what he'd done wrong. He'd figured out the game, and that's not allowed." If you've ever felt like your casino relationship went cold for no reason you could identify, there's a very good chance it wasn't your imagination. The winning sounds are engineered. Close your eyes for a second and think about the sound of a casino floor. The coins, the jingles, the musical bursts of celebration, the cascading digital sounds of a slot machine paying out. It's almost festive, isn't it? Almost like the whole room is celebrating all the time. Now open your eyes, because what I'm about to tell you is going to make you hear that sound very differently for the rest of your life. Every single sound on a casino floor is the result of deliberate acoustic engineering, not some sounds, every sound. The slot machine sounds, the table game sounds, the background music, the spacing between audio events, all of it has been researched, tested, and calibrated by sound designers whose entire job is to create what the industry calls an audio environment that sustains play. A former casino floor designer who worked on 2 major strip renovations in the early 2000s put it this way: "We tested different sound environments with focus groups. We measured how long people played, how much they bet, when they took breaks. The results were unambiguous. Certain acoustic environments produced significantly longer play sessions and higher average bets. Casinos bought that research immediately. Here's the specific manipulation that workers on the floor understand, but are never permitted to explain to guests. Modern slot machines are programmed to produce winning sounds at a volume significantly louder than the machine's actual payout would justify. A $2 win on a penny machine produces the same celebratory cascade as a $20 win. The sounds are not proportional to the outcome. They are calibrated to the emotional response the casino wants you to have. And here's the one that genuinely got me. Slot machines on a shared network are programmed to occasionally trigger celebratory sounds even on non-winning spins, specifically to maintain the audio atmosphere of the floor during slow periods. You are hearing wins that aren't happening. Designed to make you feel like you're in a winning environment when the floor is cold. One slot technician confirmed this and then asked us not to use his name. We're not using his name, but we're using the information. Dealers are watching you more than the cards. Here's something most people never consider. Your dealer has been trained to do 2 jobs simultaneously. The first job is the one you can see. Deal cards, manage the game, pay winners, collect from losers. The second job is the one you can't see, and it's the more important one as far as the casino is concerned. A former blackjack dealer who worked the strip for 16 years and dealt at 4 different properties explained it this way: "By my 3rd year, I could read a table in about 30 seconds. Who's on a losing streak and getting emotional? Who's been drinking and is about to make bad decisions? Who's card counting? Who's about to walk? I wasn't just dealing, I was reporting." Here's what dealers are trained to observe and communicate to pit staff without you ever knowing a conversation is happening. Your betting pattern changes. If you start increasing bets significantly after a series of low cards have been played, that's a flag for potential card counting. And it gets communicated to the pit boss via signals that have been in use on casino floors since the 1970s. You will never see that signal. You will never be told it was sent. Your emotional state. Dealers are trained to identify players who are on tilt, the gambling term for someone making emotionally driven decisions after losses. Why does the casino care? Because a player on tilt bets bigger and plays longer. The trained response is not to intervene. It is to maintain the atmosphere, keep the game moving, keep the player comfortable. One former dealer said, "I felt bad sometimes. Someone was clearly in trouble, and my job was to keep smiling and keep dealing. You just kinda go numb to it after a while." Your departure signals. Dealers are trained to recognize when a player is thinking about leaving, checking a phone repeatedly, looking around, gathering chips without stacking them and playing formation. These signals get communicated to floor staff, who may then trigger what the industry calls a service intervention. A host appears. A drink offer materializes. A comp offer gets mentioned casually. Not because they care about your comfort in that moment. Because your departure costs them money and your continued presence earns it. Your dealer is not your friend. They might genuinely like you, many of them do. But they are employees of an organization that has given them very specific instructions about how to manage your behavior. And they follow those instructions because they have rent to pay, just like you. The exit is never an accident. I want you to think about the last time you tried to leave a casino, quickly, not check out of the hotel. Just tried to walk from wherever you were on the floor to the exit. Did it feel like it should have taken that long? Did you walk past a few things that caught your eye? Past a few machines that almost made you stop? Find yourself briefly confused about which direction the door was? That was not poor architectural planning. That was excellent architectural planning, just not in your favor. Bill Friedman's 1982 design principles, which shaped virtually every major casino built in the following 2 decades, were explicit about exits. They should exist. They should be accessible in an emergency. They should not be obvious, prominent, or easy to navigate toward casually. The goal was a floor layout that encouraged continuous movement through gaming areas, not toward the perimeter where exits live. Modern casino design has evolved, but the core principle remains. A former casino architect who worked on several Las Vegas projects in the 2000s explained, "There are things we are specifically asked not to do. We are asked not to create clear sightlines to exits from major gaming areas. We are asked not to place wayfinding signage in locations that would naturally draw a player's eye while they're entering a machine or table. The guest should always feel oriented without ever feeling like the exit is close." And floor staff reinforced this. A former floor manager described a specific training element that surprised even him when he first heard it. "We were coached on how to give directions to guests who asked for the exit. Always point them through the floor, not around it, even if around it would have been faster. The script was always head through the main floor and follow the signs. Because through the floor means past more machines, past more tables, past more opportunities." One Redditor who identified as a former casino employee posted this, and it stuck with me. "The casino is designed so that you always feel like you're almost at the exit. You're never quite there. That feeling of almost keeps you moving through the floor instead of stopping. And while you're moving, you're seeing the floor. And while you're seeing the floor, you might sit down. That's the goal. Keep them moving, keep them seeing, keep them playing." This is not conspiracy. This is documented design philosophy. And your floor staff implements it every single shift without giving it a second thought. Because to them, it's just the shape of the room they work in. To you, it's the reason you spent an extra 45 minutes on the floor the last time you tried to leave at 11. The bigger picture. Here's what all of these confessions add up to. It's not that individual casino workers are villains. They're not. The dealer who's watching your betting patterns is also the same person who remembers your name, asks about your kids, and genuinely hopes you have a good time. The cocktail waitress timing your drinks is also the woman who's been on her feet for 8 hours in heels and has a 2-hour commute home to North Las Vegas. These are people, real people doing real jobs in a real city that they love. But the system they work inside, that system has been engineered, refined, and perfected over 70 years to do one thing: extract maximum money from you while making you feel like you're having the time of your life. And what these workers are confessing is that the gap between what guests believe and what the industry knows has gotten so wide, so deliberately wide, that staying silent about it started to feel dishonest. Because here's the uncomfortable truth that every single person we spoke to came back to eventually. Vegas used to operate on a kind of unspoken honor code. Yes, the house always wins. Yes, the odds are against you. But in exchange for your money and your loyalty, Vegas gave you something real, real spectacle, real hospitality, real value, real moments that you could not get anywhere else in the world. That compact has been broken. You know it, the workers know it, and the 11.3% drop in visitors we saw in June of 2025 knows it too. The average visitor in 2024 spent $1,322 per trip, 53% more than in 2019, and they gambled less. They just paid more for the privilege of being here, more for the room, more for the food, more for the parking, more for the experience of being in a city that used to make them feel like royalty and now makes them feel like a revenue line in a quarterly earnings report. The workers who spoke to us aren't calling for the end of Las Vegas. They love this city. They built their lives here. What they're calling for is honesty. The kind of honesty that says you can run a profitable casino, treat your guests with genuine respect, and still sleep at night. Vegas doesn't have to be a system of engineered manipulation. It used to be something more, a place where a regular person could walk in, feel the electricity of the floor, take their shot, and walk out feeling like the city had given them something, even if the chips didn't go their way. That Vegas is still possible, but it requires the industry to acknowledge what its own workers are now willing to say out loud. The question is whether anyone in a corner office on the Strip is listening. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed any of these things during your visits? A drink that appeared at exactly the wrong moment to stop you from leaving? A comp offer that showed up right when your account had gone cold? The moment you realized the exit was farther away than it had any right to be? Share your story in the comments. And if you've worked in this industry and you've got something to add, especially something they told you never to say, we want to hear that too. This channel exists for the real Vegas, the one behind the neon, the one that the corporations don't put in the brochure. If this video hit different for you today, hit that like button and subscribe to Old Vegas Legends. We are not done pulling back the curtain, not by a long shot. See you in the next one.